When my wife was watching me research this video, she kept asking, why do you look so serious? You'll understand why soon, but firstly, I need to appreciate living in Thailand for 10 years. Because according to my research, if you're under 40 when you move here, it is by far the exception to the rule. Hell, if you've made it more than 5 years here, then find yourself a drink stat and give it a tip to your longevity. Because the evidence is pretty clear that moving to Thailand is far more often than a side note in people's lives than a permanent activity. And the results of my research aren't things people considering moving to Thailand may want to hear. There isn't any website or government office you can go to and get data on foreigners moving to Thailand, especially when most people who move here do so on a tourist visa with the intention of changing it over to something permanent in the future. Polls are also impossible for the statistics I was after, and there's nothing stopping people lying on them either. So I did the best thing that I could under the circumstances. I went to YouTube. Over the last week, I went through hundreds of channels of foreigners that all had one thing in common. They all had some type of moving to Thailand video posted on their channel. And with this as a starting point, I narrowed them down on specific criteria. Firstly, the person had to move to Thailand and not just make a video saying that they are. The person had to look under 40, as I was looking for people who need to earn their own income here. The YouTuber had to make it clear that they left Thailand or posted a video still being here within the last 3 months. I didn't want to include people who may have stopped posting on YouTube and speculate their current status. The move date also had to be at least 6 months ago and at most 10 years ago. And lastly, the person couldn't have a Thai background. They also had to be a Westerner who spoke fluent English. And after going through these parameters, I ended up with 184 YouTube channels over the last 10 years that fit the criteria. And besides completely fucking up the types of videos YouTube recommends to me now, I came up with some pretty bleak results. Let's just rip the band-aid off, shall we? Out of 184 English-speaking Westerners under 40 who moved to Thailand and documented their adventure in the last decade, a whopping 89% of them don't live here anymore. And it's not like that percentage increased incrementally either. Out of the 163 who left Thailand, here is a breakdown of how long they spent here before leaving. In other words, 70% of English-speaking Westerners under 40 who moved to Thailand forever won't even last 12 months here. Now, on the plus side, it did reveal some pretty weird patterns about people who do move here. Young females who move to Thailand to become a teacher will either barely make it 3 months here or stay for at least 2 years. It seems there is a huge correlation for confusing moving somewhere with taking a long holiday with this group, as they mostly spent a few months enjoying themselves around Thailand before traveling to a few other countries in Asia, before finally heading home. And I'll leave it up to the comments section to decide why so many young Western women don't enjoy Thailand long term. Now, yet weirdly enough, this group of fly-by-nighters also produced some of the longest stays in Thailand, with them also repping in the people still living here category quite hard. Now, this may be because young Western English-speaking women with degrees can practically walk into any town in Thailand and get a job at the first school that they apply for. So it provides them the possibility of moving around much more freely compared to a lot of other demographics of foreigners who move to Thailand. Now, the most consistent people who left might not be too much of a shock. Every single person who did a lot of traveling before they decided to move to Thailand only lasted around about 6 months before relocating somewhere else, or now spend only a small amount of time in Thailand per year. Instead, these travel bug types can't seem to settle down long term and can quickly be found relocating to places like Spain, Malaysia, or Japan. Now, for the young males, I found I could split them into 3 different groups. Young males looking to make an online income would usually only last between 6 to 12 months before heading home. They simply spoke about how cheap Thailand was and how much better life was here before going home without a clear explanation as to why they left. Young males who moved to Thailand with no job and looking to find purpose in life here were easily the worst at staying long term, rarely ever making it longer than 6 months. While young males who took up teaching were easily the strongest group of people who stayed long term here, often making it at least 2 years, And it usually seemed because they'd find a Thai girlfriend and lead a pretty consistent lifestyle. Now, of the people who ended up staying in Thailand, it's basically a tiny minority of all the above groups, plus some remote workers. Now, besides the remote workers, teachers were easily the longest at living long-term here, then actual YouTubers who were able to convert it into a full-time job. Though the amount who did this is even a smaller percent when you consider that everybody who was on this list was a YouTuber at some point. Now, while the digital nomads who actually earned enough money to live here would instead regularly take off to make Bali their long-term residence instead. Now, easily the biggest mistake was people thinking that they could manifest themselves a dream life here simply by booking the plane ticket to Thailand. Far too many people moving here seem to think that projecting an image of success in life or moving here alone would make the cards fall into place. So when my wife asked why I looked so serious, it was because I felt like I was watching videos of hundreds of obvious train crashes over and over and over again. The reality is that just because you want to be an influencer, YouTuber, guru, or day trader, it just doesn't mean it's gonna come true. Not everyone is gonna be the next Hok Tour girl, and this is where the numbers don't lie. Because even without moving to Thailand and living in an environment that you completely understand everything and everyone in, the number of successful influencers, YouTubers, entrepreneurs, and gurus is still a tiny percentile rate. Now add in trying to do it in a foreign environment with no support network, no native language skills, or access to earn within the local economy, and you're pushing shit uphill to think it'll be easier to increase your earnings here than it would be at home. The answer was blatantly obvious. If you want to earn money in Thailand, you're going to increase your chances of success dramatically by doing something you're already good or experienced at, rather than thinking you'll become an expert at it overnight here. That old saying of it requires 10,000 hours to become an expert at something means it takes 5 years of doing that specific thing for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, before you hit that mark. Which is why I am so adamant that if you have office experience already in your own country, then you're mostly kidding yourself that moving here to begin a new life as an amateur yoga instructor, lifestyle expert, forex trader, or drop shipper is gonna work out for you. Instead, use your existing skill sets to get a secure white-collar job here with a multinational that will instantly earn you a non-B visa secure salary and peace of mind. There are literally thousands of openings here in hundreds of fields for experienced English-speaking foreigners, but because Westerners would rather live in a fantasy world for 6 months and head home than reap the incredible benefits of working for a multinational company here in Thailand, these jobs are instead going to Indians, Filipinos, Malays, or Chinese people. So if you're interested in working in Thailand and living the dream, and also want a job that provides you with the comfort and security of not worrying about visas, health insurance, work permits, worrying about surviving here, then I recommend sending your resume to this email address as soon as you can. I cannot emphasize how often foreigners are submitting resumes in formats or styles that are not suitable for Thai employees. I've got 10 years of experience at hiring in Thailand and know what they're looking for, and most importantly, how long they spend looking at a resume that doesn't fit the style of what they want. And you do not want to come all the way over here and not get a look in because you had no idea your resume was horribly formatted and no one spent longer than 10 seconds even considering it. And there are people here charging hundreds of dollars to tell you information that you can find in 20 seconds on Google, but I'm offering this advice on your resume absolutely free. So if you are considering a life change involving moving over here for corporate work, then send it to the email below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can on what you need to do to make it Thailand HR ready. Because while there are hundreds of multinationals here, the majority of HR departments are run by Thai. And being the only Westerner at my company for 10 years means I've only heard what Thai people think, what Thai people want, and what Thai people desire. Though it looks like that may change soon, as an Englishman watching this channel has an interview this week with my company, thanks to reaching out and sending me his resume. Now, if it all works out, within a few weeks, he'll be earning a great salary in Thailand, his visa and health insurance will be secure here, and he'll be struggling to remember what it was like working and living in England when he's sitting on a beach each weekend surrounded by thousands of beautiful Thai girls drinking without a care in the world. It can really be that easy. And if you don't think so, then I recommend checking out this video here as to why multinationals in Thailand are beginning to look for foreigners in larger numbers than ever before. You may not think you're anything special, but it's not just about what you do, it's also about up here and how you think. I'm Logan in Thailand, and if you watched till here, thank you so much. I make videos trying to help white-collar workers relocate to Thailand and live the life that they couldn't imagine in the decaying West.